Hi, welcome to our latest podcast. I'm Francesca from Seavor Chartered and I head up the payroll department. Today I have Graeme, our director and client manager, and Liam, who's a chartered accountant. So, following the announcement of the 2025 autumn budget, I think today is a good opportunity to discuss the speculations around the budget and how we're feeling in the run up to this. Liam, do you want to start us off? Obviously, the date was announced.
Yeah, so this year is probably as late as possible as what they could have had it is 26th of November.
Yeah.
So it has created a bigger window of uncertainty, especially for businesses and even individuals on some level. And there's just so much speculation going around. And obviously what we're talking about today is just speculation. It's not facts at this moment until that budget's come out. So don't take anything as gospel. But it is a very nerve-wracking time, I'd say, for businesses. But hopefully by the end of this podcast, I should be able to take something out of it just to then somewhat plan ahead.
Yeah, it's just the reason for today's topic, I suppose, is just we're all seeing it on social media and think the number of rumours that are flying around, and we'll have a discussion about some of them rumours today. And just, I suppose, with it being the 26th of November, that's been done. Ultimately, we, as accountants, the fiscal events, we look forward to it in terms of what's going to change so that we can help our clients navigate that. But I suppose what we don't like is an increased period of uncertainty, because in businesses don't like uncertainty, and it's just how they navigate that and deal with it. And hopefully from today, they can take out that actually, yes, that period's a little bit longer, but it shouldn't stop them doing the business the way they want to do business. And if they've got decisions to make, then, maybe they need to be making them still.
Yeah, it's definitely something I have to think about, whether decisions are made now or whether it's best to wait.
Yeah.
Certainly, would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of asking if you are looking forward to it, that's maybe not the best question to ask, because obviously we don't really know what's going to happen. But what are your thoughts in terms of looking forward to this?
I wouldn't say looking forward to it, because obviously there's that uncertainty around it due to that bigger window. But it's one of those days in the calendars every year where you have to look at it, see what the changes are, inform clients and advise them the best way possible, really.
Yeah. Trepidation, just see how it goes. But ultimately, as an advisor, I suppose I like it that something's going to change, how that can impact clients, how we can help them. So I like that aspect of it. Do I like that it's far away and we've got this period of speculation? I probably don't like that aspect of it, even though that's what we're going to be discussing some of today. If it had been announced and the budget was literally going to be early October, my point of view, that would have been fantastic. Less uncertainty. Businesses can find out the rules and they can get on with doing business and following the plans and strategy. That would be the ideal solution from my point of view.
Usually there's little snippets where she starts dropping hints at, but at this stage it's probably a bit early on for her to be doing that yet.
Yeah, so there could be a lot that comes up in the next couple of weeks, really, that just again throws more uncertainty around people make decisions, doesn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a known tactic, isn't it? Drop a few snippets out there. We don't know if it's official, it's unofficial, but it does enable data to be gathered by government, HMRC, just to see what's right or wrong, what's going to work, and they can factor that into the plans.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in our position, our relationships with clients and stuff, it will be becoming quite a common topic that is discussed, isn't it, really?
Absolutely,
especially in the run-up.
Yeah.
I think first we'll discuss businesses and how we think it might affect, or obviously the rumours that are going around on how this budget will affect the businesses.
Yeah. I think the main one what businesses will be worrying about is obviously corporation tax.
Yeah.
It's one of those taxes at the moment, which I wouldn't necessarily say is safe because nothing's really been said about it yet. But with it, that could do anything. They could increase it. They could half the thresholds, do anything to the thresholds to try and raise more cash sooner, to try and fill that hole, if that makes sense.
It does. And I suppose when the government's kind of got a box that they're working in, because they did say that they're not going to increase income tax, VAT, national insurance, and not increase tax on working people. And I suppose corporation tax therefore sits outside of that. I suppose we all are aware of the national insurance that they did increase for employers, and that's put pressure on businesses and increased their cost base. So to think corporation tax increase, it will put a little bit more pressure on. But like you said, it's not safe, and even just 1% on corporation tax, it is going to raise a reasonable amount of tax for the bad news almost. It would be worth implementing from that point of view.
Yeah. And nothing's really stopping them when corporation tax historically has been higher than what it is at the moment. So it is a bit of uncertainty around that. But yeah.
And I suppose that links on to us mainly working with owner managed businesses. It goes on to dividends as well, doesn't it? So we said income tax, VAT, national insurance, they've said it's not going to increase, but that doesn't include the word dividends. So although a lot of owner-managed businesses would class themselves as working people and they're paid a lot of them via dividends or they're remunerated that way, I would almost say it's not safe. We don't know if they could remove an allowance or if they could increase the rate. So I'd say that one's potentially open for the change. And rumours I've seen have speculated on these things. And genuinely, we don't know, but I definitely think there's opportunity there. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, that's a definitely good point. I know you mentioned about an eye creases, and I know certainly in my role I've seen them make changes, go back on changes, make changes that then are going to be implemented from April, but then also make changes that are implemented in the following months after the budget. So obviously us discussing this is good because it's just to be aware of it, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's nothing stopping them from even backtracking on stuff from what they've announced previously, especially when it comes to the employers' NI, especially when there's been so much backlash really about that hiking, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think once they've given the bad news and they've got the tax in the position we're currently in to then give that back, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give benefits to businesses in this budget. Sometimes businesses are always hopeful something's going to happen. A lot of businesses would be like, oh, I'd love it if they would reduce the VAT rate, for example.
Yeah.
I just don't see that we're in that position where good things are going to happen like that. But the famous U-turns for me is always it's the pickup from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
No, we're going to tax them like cars. Oh no, wait, 24 hours, we're not again.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now it's back in again. So literally in the space of less than a year, they announced it, retracted it and put it back in. So anything can happen.
It's not the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously there's uncertainty before, but even when they've announced it, you can never know, can you, when they're going to go back. In terms of businesses, I know that can include landlords. Do we have any rumours that are flying about landlords and changes?
Yeah, going back to the national insurance side of stuff, especially for landlords at the moment, obviously they're not paying national insurance on their profits at the moment, but we are looking, it is speculated, shall we say,
Totally speculated.
That they are looking at bringing national insurance on them profits now.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of the stuff I've seen is certainly originally when the date was announced and how far it was, landlords, the people who were the most concerned. And I suppose it's because you're right, they're looking, could they increase or input national insurance on their profits? And then could they change corporation tax just to target landlords that maybe have their property portfolio in companies? They're then looking at, what about stamp duty? Could that be a tax that changes? What about council tax or landlords and all this sort of stuff? And capital gains tax rates for landlords could be potentially increased. So I think there's a few things there which they could be concerned about that potentially could get changed because they're not in that protected income tax, VAT, national insurance. We'll wait and see. But again, I do think this budget's going to be one where if changes are going to be made to taxes, I don't think that there's going to be 30 changes getting delivered because I just think that's far too much bad news. Yeah. I think it's going to be a few big hitters. If we're going to announce some bad news, we may as well get paid for it almost from the government's point of view. Wait and see, who knows. But I think if I was a landlord, I could see why we're always there because there's things even happening. Is it the new bills coming in shortly? Is it no fault evictions are coming in? I know a lot of landlords are worried about that. I've even heard landlords selling properties before it comes in because they're concerned about it. Obviously, there were furnished holiday let rules were removed. Was it April this year they were removed? And it just always, it feels like they've been in the target for a while, hasn't it? So it wouldn't be a shock if that continued. It's all speculation.
And it wouldn't be too much of a big shock either if it literally changed stuff the day after either, because look at the whole capital gains tax last year where literally the day after they increased it from 10% to 14, etc. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that with one of the taxes as well again, just to raise that money even quicker.
That comes down to the whole thing of if you are looking at making changes, you need to know whether if you made that change now based on the current rules and guidelines that you'll be happy with that result, or would you be happy if it changed and you don't know what's going to happen?
If you want certainty, you make your decision before the budget. And I absolutely agree with you, Francesca. If you're almost considering circumstances now and you'd be happy with the outcome of making the decision now, by making that decision now, you've guaranteed the outcome, aren't you, that you're happy with. Waiting, I don't think there's going to be positive. Who knows? There could be some fantastic positive tax saving things announced in the budget. You never know. But I don't think that's what the majority of people are predicting. No. If you've got a key decision, I don't think waiting's going to make that key decision better. But everybody, it's just consider what's best for you. That's all I think you can do.
Certainly, as we're still on the topic of businesses, I know it's been slightly touched on with VAT. Do we have any VAT threshold rumours or rate rumours?
Yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the biggest ones, to be honest, when it comes to VAT. obviously the VAT registration threshold is 90,000 at the moment, but there is speculation that this could drop like quite significantly to 30,000, which is quite low.
It's interesting because I was actually looking on LinkedIn and there was another accountant put a comment about this and there was loads of comments, but the first comment was never going to happen. And in a way, because there's a lot in Europe, the threshold's a lot lower in a lot of countries. And I suppose the overriding thought of that is that £90,000 threshold where it's at right now, we could stop economic development, can't it? Because people almost start to try and stay below that 90,000. They lower it and the government's forcing people to go VAT registered, extra admin, extra bureaucracy, but then there's no artificial line to stop people wanting to grow the business. So do I think they'll introduce it? I'm going to say we'll wait and see, but it's probably not one of my favourite that'll get done, but definitely it's been speculated. I've seen it as well.
Yeah, I'd say very heavily speculated as well.
Obviously, I know we've covered quite a lot on businesses there, but I think it's really important that we also touch on individuals and speculation rumours that are going to potentially affect these individuals. Do you think there's anything in particular or...
I'd say when it comes to individuals, when it comes to tax rates like income tax and national insurance, they are probably more of the safer taxes where they have said that they're not going to be rising them. Don't get us wrong, they could possibly go back on that.
Putting 1% on income tax would raise a lot of money for the Exchequer. However, to go against a manifesto pledge of that size, I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
I do. However, it depends what they've got to do, isn't it, to get the finances that they need.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know certainly at the moment when it comes to income tax threshold, it is frozen in place supposedly until 27-28 tax year. But obviously there is the whole increase of national minimum wage every year. And I know recently they reduced the living wage age bracket to 21 and over, whereas previously it was 25. So it's just pushing more and more people to earning over and above that threshold. So then more and more people are being paid with income tax.
I definitely think something that would be almost an easy one to put out there is, I think, is it 2028, the rates or the thresholds are frozen to
27, 28.
That it almost feels like a natural extension, doesn't it? Just to move that to 2030. So that wouldn't be a surprise. And that wouldn't surprise me if that one came in. But again, it's not fact yet. I suppose we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, especially if minimum wage keeps increasing at the rate it is. If they do freeze them thresholds, more people are going to be starting to pay higher rate of taxes.
Certainly in previous years, I feel it's always been the aim to reduce that national living wage again to 18.
Yeah, that's been the goal.
And I think that's been ongoing, going on about and being discussed. And that reduction from 25 to 21 is the progression to then reduce it again to 18.
Yeah.
Just a real balancing act, isn't it? Because it's fantastic for people. It's what, I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong. For people who are earning it, they're going to say they'll be championing that. The businesses who've got to fund that, it's just another cost that they've got to manage their business to do. And there's lots of innovations, whether it's AI and processes, things like that. And it forces businesses to innovate, to reduce their costs. And that's great. But there's certain businesses then maybe you can't innovate and it relies heavily on labour. And that does make that costs and more expensive, doesn't it? So,
and then obviously increasing national minimum wage is great for employees. When it comes to employers, that just means they've got more employees earning more money that are above the thresholds for pension, and employers and I that then they have to pay out as well.
Yeah, so it's a compound effect of the cost, isn't it?
Even if they increase it more than inflation, all businesses are going to have to do is increase the prices at a certain rate, which is also going to then increase inflation at that point. So it's just
it's like a domino effect, really.
It is, yeah,
definitely.
So it's certainly a balancing act I think they've got with stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I know with individuals, there is a few things that can float about in terms of planning. So in terms of inheritance tax, I believe there is a few rumours floating about. I know at the moment there is this 7-year rule. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I can speak about that, I suppose. So inheritance tax, already they introduced that pensions are going to come into a person's estate for inheritance tax. That's going to have significant impact. So they've already done something there which will generate more tax. They've put a limit, didn't they, on business property relief, business agricultural property relief. That in theory is going to generate more tax as well. And I suppose almost one of the other areas they could tackle, which they haven't yet with inheritance tax, which I've heard people rumoured, is if you gift some money to somebody outside your estate while you're still alive, if you survive for 7 years, then that gift is now fully outside your estate and you would not pay any inheritance tax on it. 7 years, it's a long period, but they could extend that, couldn't they? Or they could change how that relief works so that ultimately more inheritance tax gets paid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where they have targeted pretty much everywhere on inheritance tax. So it is probably just that last domino, whatever can really
there's
adjust
been
it.
a few changes recently with it, isn't there? I know obviously you did mention that pensions are being introduced into inheritance tax, but I believe there's also a bit of a rumour going about the tax-free lump sum that people take with their pension.
Yeah, so when it comes to pensions, there's probably two key things. With a tax-free lump sum, you can take 25% out of your pension pot tax-free at the moment, but there is speculation once again that could possibly get reduced.
Yeah.
Which obviously at that point, even if it's just 5%, it's still a lot of tax getting brought in.
Yeah. Potentially go down like a lead balloon, that one, wouldn't it? For people who are close to retirement, worked hard all their life to get a pot and then think they're going to have something where they've worked hard to enjoy to that then get cut and be paying tax on that. It'd be a bit horrible, wouldn't it? But I've seen it speculated just like you have, Liam. So I suppose we'll wait and see in that one. And I do know even a year ago that was getting speculated. And I spoke to a financial advisor friend of mine who had even said some of his clients, not following his advice, had made decisions based on the speculation and then almost wished they hadn't after the event.
Yeah.
But all you can do is you can judge the circumstances and make decisions that you're happy with based on what you know today.
Yeah.
And the other key change to pensions that was speculated as well is contributions, what you can make in. So you get your annual allowance of 60,000, which was increased not too long ago.
Yeah, it was from 40.
Yeah, but there's also speculation about that getting reduced again. So it's not very good for businesses because it won't see as much tax relief. Yeah. But once again, it'll just make more money go into the economy because people aren't going to be putting the whole amount in, and that means more tax is going to get paid.
I suppose currently in and around pensions is some of the biggest areas of tax relief that the government currently gives, and under previous governments as well. Even if you put your money in and it gets topped up by 20%, doesn't it? That's actually quite a good relief, isn't it? That it gets topped up by 20%. I've seen rumours of that potentially be adjusted. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But I suppose if you think for every pound that someone puts in a pension currently gets topped up by 20%, cutting that to 10%, that's going to be a significant saving over the whole country, isn't it? But again, I'll just speculate which pot or which taxes could change or increase.
Yeah, I know obviously we have touched on quite a few topics there, but I think a general consensus is that the government seem to be trying to find ways to get more money in now rather than in the long run.
It's just so interesting because I haven't seen any member of the current government say that this is going to happen. If anything, they've been very tight-lipped from what I've seen. But it's almost like the people who are economists, social media, they all consider country needs more money into the exchequer. Therefore, one of the only ways they're going to do that is through raising taxes. And this is what creates all this speculation. The budget date then gets announced. Personally, I thought it was going to be in October. It then gets put to the last possible Wednesday in November. And that just sets all that speculation off that there's going to be tax increases. And because it's been delayed, oh God, we really need to be thinking about it now. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. And I suppose my advice just to individuals and businesses during this period is not to make rash decisions. If you have got key decisions in your life or your business that you're making, absolutely think about them, go through them thoroughly, think about what the outcome would be now if you made a decision, think about what could happen and you made the decision after the budget, how that would affect it, and just see what's the risk and what's the optimum call for you to make. I think that's all you can do.
Yeah. For me personally, I'm not expecting any tax cuts whatsoever. If anything, they'll have a few small ones, just try and sweeten a few people up. But if anything, I'm expecting more stuff to go up than what's going to be going down.
Was it used to always historically, we'll knock a penny off a pint of beer or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't even know if we'll be that generous this time. Who knows? Genuinely, who knows? I used to always say, why did they do that? Why did they do that? Yeah. And then I remember speaking to somebody, and obviously, I'm an accountant. First thing they said is, your budget today, ladder? And I was like, yeah, budget was today. I see they took a penny off a pint. And I thought, that's why they do it. Because that person, that was the one thing they picked up on it. And I was like, oh, that's why they do it then. So to me, I'm like, why do they have this? But actually, there is a big bunch of people where I suppose it's the soundbite they pick up.
At least it'll be cheaper to drown your sorrows as well.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll leave that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know obviously a lot of these speculations that we have are talking about taking money and how the government can get that more money from us. But it obviously does mean that just because we've not speculated on any positive rumours that there isn't any, definitely I'm sure you probably both agree that is the case.
Have we got any positive rumours?
I haven't seen any.
What I'd say is there's still a lot of businesses that work with are doing very well.
Yeah.
The they're innovating. AIs, it's getting rolled out to more and more business as well, which is providing opportunities. And it's like anything, genuinely, you work with businesses, they get challenges and they do actually find ways to overcome them, don't they, and still be successful. So on them rumours, it might sound like it's a bit negative, but if anything, it's to take away that, look, it's all speculation. Don't panic. Don't make rash decisions. And actually, if you're running your own business now and it feels sometimes that all that's happening is all these challenges, take a step back, because actually probably what you've achieved in the last year is probably brilliant. And there's still lots of more potential to do really well in your business.
Yeah.
So that's how I would take it.
Yeah, I would say don't just jump to conclusions. With a good bit of tax planning, be able to reduce the hit as much as possible.
Especially us, obviously, we're always available for anyone who would like to do some sort of planning, aren't we? Or would like any advice.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And no one should be jumping the gun and making decisions without sitting down and thinking about them at the time being, isn't it, really?
Especially at the moment with it all just being speculation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, thank you both always for your advice and your input on things. It's been really good to have you here. As I said, nothing is set in stone. It is all speculation until the budget on the 26th of November. But we are going to be doing another episode on that day. We'll watch the budget, we'll digest it, and we'll get everything back out, won't we?
Yeah, budget day 26, we'll 12 o'clock normally, I believe it starts off the top of my head.
Yeah.
When that's finished, we'll be digesting what's been physically said and also reading all the budget notes in and around it to digest the detail. And then we'll be digesting that hopefully later that day so we can get it out to clients, prospective clients, contacts that we work with, just giving our view on it, and obviously watch it, and any questions, get in touch with us because we're more than happy to help.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, both.